Hey, welcome to Fly Tying Fridays. I'm Cole, and this is Test Your Mettle. I put together a little guide on how to get started with fly tying. If you're like me, you enjoy fly fishing a lot, can't get enough of it, and you thought about tying some flies for yourself, maybe fill in a box full of flies that you tied so that next time you're fly fishing, you can catch fish and, have that rewarding thought that every fish that you caught came from something that you tied with your own hands. So stay tuned. I hope this guide is helpful. Please leave your thoughts and comments below. I'd love to hear from you.
All right, so step number one, if you're thinking about getting into fly tying, is to get a good book or two. Now, I'm going to say there's three types of books. You have your instructional, identification, and the intriguing books. So your instructional books are going to be like Charlie Craven's basic fly tying book. That is the one I would recommend you start with. These are going to show techniques and skills so that you could really develop your skills the right way from the beginning. Super important. Next is going to be the identification. So identification books are something like this: Pocket Guide to Western Hatches. This is a great thing to keep with you in your fly fishing kit, but it's not going to be the most important thing. It's going to help you identify different flies and hatches and what they are, but it's not going to necessarily teach you how to tie flies. The last one is going to be the intriguing books. The books that get you excited, help you stay pumped to fish more. An example of that would be Modern Streamers for Trophy Trout by Kelly Gallup. He has a second version of this book. These ones really get you excited to catch big fish, get out there, try some new styles, do some new techniques. Definitely recommend getting some of each, but for starting, get Charlie Craven's basic fly tying book.
So step number two, if you're interested in fly tying, is to get on YouTube and check out a few talented fly tyers. Some of the ones I've listed are ones that I really enjoy the content and the flies they put out and their instructions on them, but this isn't an exhaustive list, and I'm sure you can find some other tyers that you really like. First one I'm going to say is Fly Fish Food. I order a lot of supplies through their website. They have a great website, great fly shop in Orem, Utah. Cheech is hilarious. Everyone there is top notch. They're all great tyers, and I think you'd probably enjoy their content. Second is Charlie Craven. Charlie Craven's the same one who wrote that book I mentioned earlier. I think he's one of the most talented tyers. Every wrap he does is intentional, and there's not a wasted wrap. So it's really good to learn those techniques from someone like Charlie Craven. Kelly Gallup is another. He's the one who wrote Modern Streamers for Trophy Trout. Very talented tyer as well, not just in the streamer realm, even though that's what he's known for, but his cripples and spinners and dry flies are pretty amazing, and he's got some great fishing techniques as well. Next, I'd say is Tim Flagler. Tim Flagler he's from the East Coast, but he's another talented tyer. His videos are short, to the point, instructional, great for learning how to tie, and you can follow along. I think those are great ones. And the last one I'm going to throw in is to visit the Orvis Company and specifically watch the monthly tie-offs. These are really cool. They're longer videos, an hour plus, but they're live streams where Tim Flagler, Tom Rosenbauer, and more recently Cheech from Fly Fish Food, they all tie the same fly, but they all have their own methodologies and different ways of doing something. Super cool way to see the traditional way of doing something, but then, there's always a twist. Someone has a twist, an easier way of tying something, and you can learn a lot from those videos.
The next step is get a notebook. Simple notebook like this from Staples or Walmart. This allows you to write down your flies as you tie them. Write them in order. So you're obviously going to start with a hook if there's a bead. That way, if you forget how to tie something, you don't have to look up a video or find it in a book. You can go through, read your instructions on how to tie the flies. Makes it super simple and super important for ordering more supplies when you run out of hooks, thread, whatever it may be. This makes it really easy on you.
Step number 4 is get some fly tying tools. You've made it this far, you've decided you want to tie some flies. Now it's time to get some tools. There's 4 tools that you need at a bare minimum. First is going to be a vise, like you see here. Now there's 2 types of vices. There's rotary or just fixed position. I would just get a fix. You don't need a rotary unless you know you're going to keep tying. If you find one, on Craigslist for a good price, that's fine. But what's most important is that you develop your techniques from the beginning. And that's why a lot of professional tiers will say not to start with a rotary. Within that, there's 2 different types of bases. So this is your base. There's C-clamp style that will clamp to a desk, or there's this style that's just a heavy base. I don't own a C-clamp style. I wish I did. This is an extra base I had and I just screwed it to my table. So this thing does not move. It's not going anywhere. But if you can manage a C-clamp style and you have room for it, that's what I would recommend. Next, you need a bobbin. These are called bobbins. It's actually a bobbin holder. Bobbin is what has the thread. This holds the bobbin, so it's a bobbin holder, but they call them bobbins. And this is a Tiemco style. These are probably going to be the most common, easiest to find, and probably a great choice for starting out. So Tiemco style bobbin. Need a pair of scissors. These are just some loon scissors. You're going to wear out scissors. It's going to happen. Don't worry about it. You can be super anal about, never cutting things that you shouldn't cut, but you're going to wear out scissors. So just get a pair that aren't too expensive, especially when you're starting to develop your techniques. Last thing you need is a whip finish tool. This is a Mettle style whip finish tool. This is going to help you to tie your flies and complete them. If you have these tools, you can get started. Now, those were the bare minimum tools. I'm going to list off some helpful tools that if you have the budget for it and you want to add a little more, these helpful tools go a long way. First one is going to be a comb and brush combo. So this is super nice for picking out dubbing, hair, cleaning out the underfur on hair, things of that nature. Next is a bodkin. You could use a needle. If you don't want to pay money for this, this is a little thicker than a needle. I'm sure you could be resourceful, figure out something for yourself. Third would be hackle pliers. I'm not super picky about these. I think there's probably better styles. I don't use them too much. Typically, I just use my fingers when I'm tying hackle or stuff like that, but they do come in handy. And the last thing I would say is a nice light. So a good light helps your tying. It helps you not squint if you have bad eyes or, if your house isn't lit too well. A good light for your desk or wherever you're tying goes a long way. One of the last things I would say, if you can afford it, if you're willing to spend the money, is an extra bobbin. Maybe get a different style. If you like the style you have, get the same one, and that way you can just have it loaded with a different thread. This is definitely a luxury. That's why I'm saying it's in the helpful category. Last thing in the helpful category is glue, super glue, or UV resin. Again, this is another luxury. It's more important that you develop your skills, and if you're tying thread wraps in a meaningful manner and you're following the instructions, you shouldn't need glue, but I don't want to deal with things coming unraveled, so I just add glue and I never have to worry about it. Professional tires that never use glue probably never have problems, but something I don't want to worry about, so I use glue when I can. The next one I would get is a dubbing loop twister. Something like this Maine dubbing loop twister. You can buy these online, Fly Fish Food. They're a little pricey, but it is helpful once you get into things like dubbing loops. Last specialty tool, and again, you don't need any of these. This is a CDC clamp. If I was going to do it again and I was starting new and I needed something like this, I would just use a chip bag clip. super cheap, super easy to get a hold of, and it'd save you a little money. Step number 5 is going to be work through your book. Like I said, I recommended the Charlie Craven basic fly tying book. He goes through and he shows you how to develop techniques and how to get talented at that technique. And you buy the supplies for that specific fly, and he starts simple and you build on that and you develop your skills, you get more supplies, you get a few different colors, and it's super helpful, super important. Can't stress enough how important it is to develop those techniques early on. Don't skip steps. One of the things I noticed when I was first getting into it is that professionals skip steps, even if their books tell you to do them. That's okay. Don't skip the steps yourself. Develop those skills, and it'll pay off in the long run. Step 6, fill a box. What I like to do is keep the best 6 of any flies that I've tied. I like to tie them in multiple colors, and that's what I use to fill my box. It's super rewarding to catch fish with flies that you've tied, and I think you'll really enjoy it. You'll get better as time goes by. Don't get mad when you're messing up flies in the start, but keep practicing, develop those skills, and you'll get good. Well, there you have it. Those are my steps on how to tie your own flies and how to get into it. I hope this was helpful. There's nothing more rewarding than tying your own flies, going out and fishing and catching fish with those flies. Here's some pheasant tail from pheasant I've killed, hunted behind my bird dogs, and I've used those to tie flies and caught fish with them. Same with those turkey fans over there. I shot those turkey and I've used them to tie flies and caught fish with those flies. Super rewarding. I really think you should give it a try. It's one of the best hobbies someone can do, and you know, it's a great way to spend your time. I hope you found some value in what I shared. Please leave a comment below, like and subscribe, and I'm excited to see this channel grow, and I hope you leave some good recommendations and some good info in the comments, and we love the engagement. So thanks for stopping by. The next recommendation I'll make is to check out some YouTube channels of some talented flyers. The next recommendation I'll make So step number 2 is to check out the YouTube channel of some talented flyers. I'm not going to say he's the best by any means. Oh my gosh. Step number 4 is get some flying. The next one I would get is a dubbing loop twister, something. I'll say that one of the most rewarding things is catching a fish on flies that you've tied. So if you've made it this far, so step number 3 is get a notebook.